This is a emergency transmission. We've had a lot of emergency transmissions here on air in the last year or so because so much is happening, obviously, here in the U.S. and around the world. I had high-level sources tell me more than 6 months ago that there was a plan to federalize elections. When we say federalize, have Homeland Security, run by the Democratic Party at the time and still currently, take control of the elections so that there's no checks and balances at the state or county level in the name of, quote, protecting them. Then the feds partially federalized elections, but got caught hacking 6 different states. State officials exposed them. So now Homeland Security has come out and claimed that the Russians were supposedly meddling, but with no proof of physical hacking of machines. So now they've come out and said today that they are just outside of Congress, outside of law, that Jay Johnson and Obama, with 13 days left in office, are federalizing the elections. Now, why would they do that? Trump can just reverse that later. It's totally unconstitutional because they may be preparing to say that Trump was illegally elected while they're still in power, overturn the election, again, unconstitutionally, hold new elections overseen by Jay Johnson, Loretta Lynch, and hell, maybe even Bill Clinton will be there like he was on the airplane with her. They would not be doing this unless they're moving. And again, they've already tried to have recounts. They've already tried to have electors say no in the election. They've already tried to demonize Trump and claim he's a Russian agent and say I'm a Russian agent and everybody else is a Russian agent. They've already done insane things. They've thrown the kitchen sink at us. We see coups in third world countries all the time. We see staged elections all the time. So we know this happens. And ladies and gentlemen, it's happening here. I tell you, I've got amazing sources that told me Hillary Clinton was having seizures and falling down. It happened 1 month after. I have amazing sources that said they're planning to federalize the elections, and you notice it's now happening. But the president said I was crazy, though. It was never going to happen. Why? We have locals running the elections, so there's checks and balances in 50 different states. Not one federal government or one bureaucracy of that government that can come in and do whatever it wants. Well, now a rogue group has hijacked our government, hijacked our intelligence agencies. It doesn't like the fact that we've elected Trump, and it's preparing to block that. And I was just thinking about how over-the-top bombshell this article is that's up on Infowars.com by Don Salazar. Breaking: Feds announce takeover of U.S. electoral process. DHS Secretary Jay Johnson designates elections critical infrastructure. U.S. election systems will henceforth be treated as critical infrastructure. The Department of Homeland Security, Jay Johnson, decreed Friday. He decreed. He can announce any part of the government he wants is essential for COG. See? Keep telling you about COG and infrastructure. Under this, we're put under the War Powers Act and under martial law provisions of FEMA that we would normally only be under during a nuclear attack. This is how they get around the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, a popular election, Donald Trump. Take the EU. They're now saying they have emergency powers that circumvent elections of countries that wish to withdraw. And they have an EU army standing by. Oh, Julius Caesar can't come back into Rome? How about I become emperor? Same story, different country, different time. In a letter to the Associated Press, no law, no presidential signing, just a letter. Johnson revealed the U.S. government would monitor and intervene in future elections, a process previously handled on state-by-state basis. Given the vital role elections play in the country, it's clear that certain systems and assets of the election infrastructure meet the definition of critical infrastructure in fact and in law. Johnson stated, particularly in these times, the designation is simply the right and obvious thing to do. The designation allows for information to be withheld, this is a quote from Johnson, from the public when state, local, and private partners meet to discuss election infrastructure security. This is a way to federalize everybody. Potentially injecting secrecy into an election process that's traditionally and expressly a transparent process, AP wrote. AP even said that. Oh, you know there's a civil war in the government now. When mainstream news came out and admitted the Washington Post lied about the Russian hack of the power plants, it's all lies, folks. U.S. officials say such closed-door conversations allow for rank discussion that would prevent bad actors from learning about the vulnerabilities. DHS would also be able to grant security clearances when appropriate. See, it's about federalizing. I'm giving them little badges. having federal people in every office so they can steal the election and nobody calls them on it. This is incredible, folks. This is amazing. They may just be trying to burrow their people into the system so they can kick out the Republican takeover in 2 years in the House and Senate. But it looks like they may be getting ready to actually try to block Trump now. The whole climate is just unprecedented. This is so insane. Read the full article at Infowars.com and then see, let me see, that was 6 weeks ago, or six, that was 3, 4, and then see 4.5 months ago when I first warned of this entire plan that was about to take place. Because, yeah, InfoWars has got the sources. We got the huevos. We'll tell the truth. We'll never back down. We'll never surrender. I love you all. I've already filed one other report on this, but I've thought to myself it wasn't hardcore enough. I mean, I cannot come up with information. I cannot come up with words to describe how hardcore this is. I mean, it's so unconstitutional. Who the hell made Jay Johnson almighty? We've never had federalized elections. Then I come out and expose they're going to do it. They say I'm crazy that would never happen. Then they do it. See? I mean, I'm sick of being right, folks. I'm not right. I have the intel. I have the sources. And I also study what they do. It's all naked if you're paying attention. Let's get the word out on this right now. Infowars.com has the story with Don Salazar's breakdown right now and our previous warning from months before the election last year. You can't make this stuff up. Truth is stranger than fiction. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to Infowars.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. Infowars Live, available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. You gonna sit down and play games and be a trendy? Or are you gonna be part of history? Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action.